Hello, I'm Doug Roarin. I'm here at Juniper Level Botanic Garden, the home of Plant Delights Nursery. And today I'd like to talk about agaves. Mr. Avent has one of the largest, maybe the largest collection of variegated agaves. The genus Agave consists of about 200 wild species. Generally, variegated forms of them don't exist in the wild. And their range is from like Colorado, the Grand Canyon area, through the southwest U.S., Mexico, South America, and some of the islands off the coast of the Americas. Coming from that wide range, some of them are winter hardy here, and many are not. You think of Mexico, it's a huge country with many different climates. Parts of Mexico are cold, others are tropical, most are dry, and other parts of Mexico are wet. So a lot of these variegated agaves have to be grown as container plants. They need to be protected from frost in the winter. Plus the addition of the wider yellow portion of the leaf in a variegated agave make them less cold hardy. The part of the leaf without chlorophyll freezes and gets damaged, whereas the green part of the leaf doesn't. But in general, these variegated ones are not hardy in zone 7 or 8, and some of them are not hardy if they're exposed to any frost at all. But I want to point out a couple today. This is luminescence. It's a very slow growing one. It only gets about a foot tall. It's like 3/4 of the way to foot tall. It's extremely slow offsetting. So this is one you can keep in a fairly small size for a long time. Now, this is our young specimen plant. It's not the size you would receive if you ordered one today, but you'd receive a nice size plant. That's not too shabby a plant. I think that's a lovely, good sized plant, a good start. This is one that's only hardy into zone 9B, a lot milder than here. But again, a small growing one that you can easily manage in a container. Agaves make great summer containers because even though we water these most every day, agaves are not plants that need to be dry. They are very tolerant of dry, but because they are tolerant of drought, if you go away for a week, they're not going to grumble. They're going to be just fine. So they can make for a really low maintenance container plant. They are a plant that, as I said, they're very tolerant of dry, but they will make use of as much water that you give them during their growing season. In the winter, you want to keep them on a much drier basis. Here's a fairly similar looking agave, Gypsy Queen. It's a different species than luminescence, and ultimately it's about half again as tall. The plants will get about 18 inches tall, again slowly offsetting. Another modest sized agave that you could keep in a sort of medium sized pot for a really long time. Here's an older plant, a specimen of it. Our labels indicate the year that, well, it doesn't tell us on this one when it was potted up, when it was planted. But, this central band of yellow stays nice and clear and bright year round. So again, a real easy container plant. Year round, you do need to protect it from frost. Keep it out a good part, well into the fall until it starts to get temperatures below freezing at night. You absolutely don't want them to get frosted because a little bit of frost won't kill them outright, but it'll damage the foliage and then take a long time to replace the old damaged foliage with new. Many agaves have really pronounced teeth on the margin of the leaf, like this beauty here, Agave Titanota Dusty Roads. This one has a very friendly margin to the leaf. I guess the hairs replace what spines it might have had. It has a very prominent terminal spine, which you will notice if you back into it, but otherwise is a fairly friendly plant for an agave. Really stunning, beautiful yellow margin to the leaf. Would be a very dramatic plant in the focal point in a container with something low and trailing, draping down from the side of the pot. Like maybe a tropical sedum or something like that. Another one of many beautiful variegated agaves, which can be either a summer container plant or year-round house plant. Next, we're going to go look at Agave ovatifolia, just the wild type. It's one of the most dramatic agaves we grow that's also winter hardy in zone 7B. Well, actually, it's hardy into zone 7A, the cooler end of zone 8. Zone 7. Agave ovatifolia. Ovatifolia meaning pretty much what it sounds like. Oval foliage, has the common name of whale tongue agave. I've never seen the tongue of a whale, but I guess it's pretty massive. It's native to northern Mexico in the Chihuahuan Desert. It hasn't been known terribly long in cultivation, but it has proven to be one of the most reliably cold hardy of the large growing agaves. This plant is not yet full size. It's getting there. It's close to 4 feet tall, and that looks like 5 feet wide. Now agaves, the different species of agaves have one of two types of growth habits. Some of them make just the one plant and don't produce any offsets. That's typical of ovatifolia. You see we have this one huge plant and no pups around it. And of course the other growth habit of other species of agaves is ones that quickly multiply and make lots of offsets. Everyone knows that agaves die after they bloom. That's entirely true of these ones that don't offset. When they bloom, and by the time the fruit are ripening and the seed is produced, this plant will be dead. It won't produce any offsets of the plant. The agaves that offset, only the one rosette that blooms dies. The offsets live to grow up and flower at some other time. But Agave ovatifolia is a large, stunning plant. Of course, we grow it in full sun. You notice this bed is mounded up. It also has, about half of the soil mix is permatil gravel, stay-like permatil gravel. You could use most any pea gravel size gravel. So ensuring that it has really sharp drainage, it'll get through our wet winters just fine. But it's really a stunning plant if you have the right space for it. Obviously, we don't ship a plant this size to you in a box. You'll get a nice plant about this size. I can tell you when this specimen was planted. It's not terribly long ago, I don't imagine. This plant was planted in 2017. So in about 7 years, this plant will be about that size. This is looking fairly green at this stage, but the typical color of ovatifolia will be blue. In the nursery, they're not grown in full sun, and they're grown in very bright filtered light, but out in the full sun, they turn this beautiful blue-gray. Thank you for visiting the garden today, and I hope to see you again soon.